The story of Star Wars is generally a tale of good versus evil, filled with characters that solidify their stance in the matter through the actions they take on their respective journeys. It's through these actions that these characters transform from just everyday people into legends. This begs the question, which character is the best? Many may give one or various answers. I believe there are quite a few. So my goal in this series is to intensely analyze the characters I believe fit this mold and to make a case for them as the greatest Star Wars character of all time. The character I want to look at today is Jedi Grandmaster Yoda. Yoda is undoubtedly one of the most iconic characters in Star Wars and the man responsible for some of its most memorable quotes. In this video, I want to go over how Yoda's ideals, philosophy, and growth as a character molds the themes of both the prequels and the original trilogy. Yoda is first introduced to audiences in Episode 5 as the wise Jedi Master that instructs Luke on the ways of the Force, guiding him on his journey to becoming a Jedi Knight. He's a mentor whose insight is invaluable to Luke's growth as a character, but in order to fully understand how he reached this degree of wisdom, we must look at the journey he took to get there, as his experiences are what built this level of understanding of the world around him. In Episode 1, Yoda is established as the Grand Master of the Jedi Council of the Republic, so he carries the responsibility of leading the Jedi of this era on their quest to maintain peace throughout the galaxy. He's managed to be successful at this, as during his time, peace has been established. Although it can be said that he's not been properly challenged, as
The Sith have been extinct for a millennium.
And when the possibility of their return arises, the Council is doubtful.
I do not believe the Sith could have returned without us knowing.
Hard to see the dark side is.
Yoda's assessment here is telling of a weakness in the Jedi of this era, as they're not as powerful or insightful as they once were, allowing the Sith to rise again, almost in plain sight. This failure can be stemmed from Yoda's view on the future, which is contrasted by Qui-Gon's.
Keep your concentration here and now where it belongs.
But Master Yoda said I should be mindful of the future.
But not at the expense of the moment. Be mindful of the living force, young Padawan.
As Qui-Gon points out here, Yoda's mindset is flawed, as it leaves him susceptible to threats in the present and less focused on following the will of the Force in general. Overall, the flaws in Yoda's philosophy of this time are greatly highlighted through Qui-Gon, where Yoda has become accustomed to the dogmatic nature of the Jedi, blindly abiding by the code. Qui-Gon allows the Force to guide his actions.
An apprentice you have, Qui-Gon. Impossible to take out a second.
The code forbids it.
If you would just follow the code, you would be on the council. They will not go along with you this time.
You still have much to learn, my young apprentice.
Even the clarity that the Force provides them is juxtaposed in their assessment of Anakin's future.
He is the chosen one. You must see it.
Clouded this boy's future is.
Speaking of Anakin, when he's brought to the Council to be tested, Yoda's impressed by Anakin's raw ability with the Force, but shares his concerns about the attachment the young boy has to his mother.
I miss her.
Afraid to lose her, I think.
What has that got to do with anything?
Everything. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
Yoda brings a valid point here to the consequences that fear brings, as it can control our actions and guide us down a dark path if we let it. Although this sets the tone for Anakin's struggles with the Council, as they've shown early on a lack of confidence in his ability to control his emotions before he's really been given a chance to.
I sense much fear in you.
It's this fear in Anakin that sparks a fear in Yoda.
The chosen one the boy may be. Nevertheless, grave danger I fear in his training.
This would be a major factor in Anakin's growth, as he would never fully feel trusted by Yoda and the Council.
But agree with your taking this boy as your Padawan learner? I do not.
And so, after sharing his hesitations with Obi-Wan, Yoda would ultimately allow Anakin to be trained.
Agree with you, the Council does. Your apprentice, Skywalker, will be.
With this, Qui-Gon's final wish would be satisfied, to give the Chosen One a chance at fulfilling his destiny. And at his funeral, Yoda and Mace would still be left unaware of the Sith's identity and plan.
There's no doubt the mysterious warrior was a Sith.
Always two there are. No more, no less. A master and an apprentice.
But which was destroyed? The master or the apprentice?
With this in mind, the film closes on a foreboding note for Yoda, as his greatest challenge yet in the mystery that is the Sith still looms in plain sight, and is expanded on further in the following films. At the start of episode 2, the Jedi Council discusses with Palpatine the possibility of war for the Republic. It's here that Yoda and the Council's involvement with politics has grown far beyond what it should, as the Jedi are being relied upon more as warriors rather than monks, or it should be, as Mace puts it,
We're keepers of the peace, not soldiers.
This, along with Yoda's inability to see the enemy that stands before him, is what allows him to be easily manipulated and deceived in Palpatine's grand plan, all represented by Yoda's struggle to see into the future.
The dark side clouds everything. Impossible to see. The future is.
Yoda's blindness is something he's passed on to his fellow Jedi. For Mace, he's unable to see the evil in others, in this case, Count Dooku.
You know, milady, Count Dooku was once a Jedi. He couldn't assassinate anyone. It's not in his character.
And for Obi-Wan, he blindly follows the Council's orders without hesitation.
We will do exactly as the Council has instructed.
During these trying times, the Jedi are given the task of protecting Padme following an assassination attempt. While Yoda definitely cares about her safety,
Seeing you alive brings warm feelings to my heart.
there's a sense that the Jedi are not putting in a maximum effort.
We're here to protect you, Senator, not to start an investigation.
It's not until a second attempt on her life that Yoda then puts in the order to identify her attacker.
Track down this bounty hunter, you must, Obi-Wan.
While this is a step in the right direction, Yoda plays into Palpatine's hands as they have Anakin escort Padme back to Naboo, mistakenly never considering her opinion on the matter, or what it might mean for the Republic.
Until caught, this killer is our judgment she must respect.
I do not like this idea of hiding. I haven't worked for a year to defeat the Military Creation Act, to not be here when its fate is decided.
And as Anakin prepares for his first mission, Obi-Wan voices his opinion on the matter to Yoda.
I am concerned for my Padawan. He is not ready to be given this assignment on his own yet.
The Council is confident in its decision, Obi-Wan.
Here, Yoda's confidence in Anakin is admirable, as he's showing more trust in him by giving him greater responsibility, a positive change from the Phantom Menace. Although this could be seen as arrogant, as he's quickly dismissed Obi-Wan's concerns about his apprentice, even though he knows the young Padawan better than anyone. Ironically, Yoda assesses this trait perfectly when speaking of the Jedi as a whole.
A flaw more and more common among Jedi. Too sure of themselves they are. Even the older, more experienced ones.
Although Yoda has shown arrogant tendencies from time to time, he's more than capable of showing humility, as displayed when Obi-Wan comes to Yoda for guidance during one of his classes. Here Yoda looks to the younglings for suggestions on the cause of Obi-Wan's missing planet.
Anyone.
Master? Because someone erased it from the archive memory.
Truly wonderful the mind of a child is.
Yoda's willingness to hear the perspective of others allows him to be in a constant state of growth, as he's keen to learn from anyone, no matter their age, or however old he gets. So he encourages Obi-Wan to trust his gut and go to the planet.
Go to the center of gravity's pull and find your planet. You will.
This contrasted by Jocasta Nu, who gave a more stubborn response when posed with the same dilemma.
Perhaps the archives are incomplete.
If an item does not appear in our records, it does not exist.
Well, that's not helpful. Also, the first glimpse of Yoda's teaching style is shown here, as he maintains the attention of the younglings through humor.
Lost a planet, Master Obi-Wan has. How embarrassing. How embarrassing.
Overall, the respect he shows his students is returned to him by anyone that knows him, as he's constantly referred to in a positive light by both his allies and his enemies alike, presenting him as the gold standard of the Jedi.
Spent as much time practicing your saber techniques as you do your wit, you would rival Master Yoda as a swordsman.
Obi-Wan is a great mentor. As wise as Master Yoda and as powerful as Master Windu.
I see you becoming the greatest of all Jedi, Anakin. Even more powerful than Master Yoda.
While others view him as the pinnacle of the Jedi, he's the first to admit that he's flawed. As when Obi-Wan brings news of the creation of a clone army, Yoda's disappointed at himself.
Blind we are. If creation of this clone army we could not see.
This leads Mace to suggest seeking out for help, although Yoda's hesitant to do the same.
I think it is time we inform the Senate that our ability to use the Force is diminished.
Only the Dark Lord of the Sith knows of our weakness. If informed the Senate is, multiply our adversaries' will.
The irony here is that the Dark Lord of the Sith and the Senate are one and the same, leaving Yoda in a losing scenario. with his one way out being to take the advice he gave Obi-Wan earlier, before it's too late.
Clear your mind must be if you are to discover the real villains behind this plot.
As the creation of the Grand Army of the Republic is approved, Mace leads the Jedi to Geonosis to rescue Obi-Wan, and Yoda heads to Kamino to retrieve the new soldiers of the Republic. But when Yoda arrives with the clones, the damage has already been done, with the majority of the Jedi that were sent having perished in combat. The battle itself representing what the Jedi have become, soldiers being used to solve political disputes, instead of being the peacekeepers Mace described earlier in the film. Even the image of Yoda commanding the clones as a general is a telling sign of what the war will bring to the daily lives of the Jedi. But there's still hope to end the war before it begins, as Yoda is able to confront Count Dooku and attempts to halt his escape. The duel between the two begins with the test of their skills with the Force, with their approach to the fight personifying the dichotomy between the Jedi and the Sith. Representing the Sith, Dooku uses his power aggressively, always on the offensive, whereas Yoda epitomizes the ideals of a Jedi using his knowledge for defense. It's because of this power that those like Dooku confidently believe that the dark side is stronger.
I've become more powerful than any Jedi. Even you.
But it's here that Yoda proves that Dooku lacks control of this power, as he's barely able to handle a taste of his own medicine.
Much to learn, you still have.
And it's because of this, Dooku realizes he cannot defeat a master of the Force at his own game.
It is obvious that this contest cannot be decided by our knowledge of the Force, but by our skills with a lightsaber.
Yoda shows that he can go toe-to-toe with anyone, keeping up with Dooku blow for blow. However, Dooku understands that as long as he makes it out alive, he will have won the day by facilitating the start of the war. So Dooku uses Yoda's compassion against him and forces him to make a decision by threatening the lives of his friends. In this moment, Yoda chooses to save those that he cares about, but can't help feeling a sense of failure, as the best shot at maintaining peace throughout the galaxy has slipped away from him. And now, Yoda is left to suffer the consequences, unable to trust his enemies in Dooku and the Sith, or his allies in Palpatine and the Senate.
Join the dark side, Dooku has. Lies, deceit, creating mistrust are his ways now.
Nevertheless, I feel we should keep a closer eye on the Senate.
I agree.
The movie then ends on a foreboding note, as the Jedi manage to survive the day because of the clones, but at the cost of trading in peace for a galactic war.
Victory, you say? Master Obi-Wan, not victory. The shroud of the dark side has fallen. Begun. The Clone War has.
The final words of the movie, juxtaposed with the image of Palpatine overlooking his grand army, highlights the failure of the Jedi, and the rise of the Sith, planting the seeds that would soon become the Empire. Episode 3 begins with showing the consequences of war, as the Jedi are now counted on to fight the Republic's battles against the Separatists. With the Jedi knee-deep in politics, the Council is further manipulated by Palpatine to end the war, at the cost of spreading the Jedi thin across the galaxy.
And I assure you, the Senate will vote to continue the war as long as Grievous is alive.
Then the Jedi Council will make finding Grievous our highest priority.
The Jedi have not only become divided physically due to the repercussions of the Clone Wars, but emotionally as well, as they become detached. Shown through Yoda's relationship with Anakin, as Anakin comes to Yoda for advice on the nightmares he's been having.
These visions you have.
They're of pain, suffering, death.
This comes as no surprise to Yoda, as he's seen this pain in Anakin years before, when he lost his mother.
Young Skywalker is in pain. Terrible pain.
And although Yoda hasn't directly addressed what he sensed in Anakin before, now that Anakin is showing Yoda an immense amount of trust in him by opening up to him about his fears, something that he wasn't even willing to do with Obi-Wan, Yoda is then given the perfect opportunity to guide him along the right path.
Careful you must be when sensing the future, Anakin. The fear of loss is a path to the dark side.
I won't let these visions come true, Master Yoda.
Anakin's response here is telling that he's determined not to let history repeat itself with his wife, as it did his mother.
Death is a natural part of life. Rejoice for those around you who transform into the Force. Mourn them do not. Miss them do not. Attachment leads to jealousy. The shadow of greed, that is.
It's Anakin's compassion that's one of his greatest strengths, so Yoda fails here by telling him to suppress those feelings and accept the consequences.
What must I do, Master Yoda?
Train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose.
It's Yoda's inability to show sympathy and overall detached nature in this moment that pushes Anakin further towards Palpatine, a man that has always shown him trust and compassion. Anakin's trust in Yoda and the Council is further severed when the Council denies him the promotion he's always wanted.
You are on this council, but we do not grant you the rank of Master.
This is a slap in the face for Anakin, as the Council has again shown him a lack of trust, and the fact that Anakin has shown that he places his faith in Yoda, but doesn't receive the same gesture in return, only adds to his frustrations.
It's never been done in the history of the Jedi. It's insulting.
And worst of all, Anakin is put in the position not because of his merit, but because of his relationship with Palpatine.
The only reason the Council has approved your appointment is because the Chancellor trusts you.
This choice only causes Anakin to build further skepticism in Yoda as a mentor, and the Jedi as a whole.
Sometimes I wonder what's happening to the Jedi Order.
This is then mirrored by Yoda's doubt in Anakin as the Chosen One.
With all due respect, Master, is he not the Chosen One? Is he not to destroy the Sith and bring balance to the Force?
So the prophecy says.
A prophecy that misread could have been.
And to add insult to injury, Yoda uses Anakin's rank against him when Anakin offers to lead the most important campaign of the war.
The Chancellor has requested that I lead the campaign.
The Council will make up its own mind who is to go, not the Chancellor.
A master is needed with more experience.
With Yoda now in Kashyyyk, Anakin has one less person to turn to for wisdom, a direct consequence of the war, which would unfortunately result in something much worse. And it's on the Wookiee homeworld where we're reminded of how routine war has become, as even amidst all the death and chaos, Yoda seems almost unfazed by it all. With the war nearing its end, so should the reign of Palpatine, but Yoda realizes that any resistance by the Chancellor will bode unwell for the Jedi, only causing more violence.
The Jedi Council would have to take control of the Senate in order to secure a peaceful transition.
To a dark place this line of thought will carry us. Great care we must take.
Unfortunately for the Jedi and the Republic alike, they're quickly taken to that dark place Yoda alluded to, as Order 66 is initiated. In a matter of moments, thousands of Jedi were executed by allies, and in many cases those that they considered friends, having bravely fought alongside them for years. And as their leader, Yoda feels a burden of responsibility, as he's unable to help his fallen brethren, all underlined by the sheer physical pain he's in as he senses all their deaths at once. And with Yoda gone during the fall of the Jedi Temple, it's reminiscent to a king off at war that has his kingdom captured, unable to protect his home, or more importantly, his people, with the root of his failure stemming from his inability to see what the Jedi had become: dogmatic, arrogant, blind, and detached. All flaws that Yoda passed on to his students, with the metaphorical devil and Palpatine taking advantage of their weakness and corrupting the best of them. And so, Yoda survives the Great Purge, not only due to his clairvoyance with the Force, but his friendship with the Wookiees, as they lead him to safety. Soon after, he reunites with Obi-Wan, and they decide to embark on a dangerous mission to protect the surviving Jedi. It's here that we see Yoda's ability to make the most out of a bad situation, as he views the mission as an opportunity to gain intel.
Suggest dismantling the coded signal, do you?
Yes, Master, there is too much at stake.
I agree. And a little more knowledge might light our way.
As well, when arriving on Coruscant, he uses Palpatine's hearing to his advantage.
If a special session of Congress there is, easier for us to enter the Jedi Temple it will be.
It's at the temple that Yoda and Obi-Wan use their skills to work together and give the Jedi a chance at survival. Unfortunately though, the horrible truth lingers over them as they come closer to discovering Anakin's betrayal.
Killed not by clones. This Padawan. By a lightsaber he was.
When the opportunity arrives to discover the truth once and for all, Yoda's prepared for the worst, and cautions Obi-Wan, as sometimes the truth can be the hardest thing to accept.
If into the security recordings you go, only pain will you find.
I must know the truth, Master.
It's here that the two fully realize Anakin's fall from grace, with their differing reactions underlying Obi-Wan's reluctance and Yoda's absolute mentality about the situation.
Destroy the Sith. We must.
Send me to kill the Emperor. I will not kill Anakin.
To fight this Lord Sidious strong enough, you are not.
He is like my brother. I cannot do it.
While Yoda may be protecting Obi-Wan from himself, as he would more than likely lose to the Emperor, the important thing here is that where Obi-Wan shows compassion for his apprentice, Yoda is indifferent, justifying this by treating Anakin and Vader as two separate entities, dismissing the idea that the good man in Anakin could be saved, as long as Vader exists.
Twisted by the dark side, young Skywalker has become. The boy you trained, gone he is, consumed by Darth Vader.
Yoda then sends Obi-Wan to search for his apprentice, knowing that if anyone could find Anakin, it would be the man that cares about him the most.
Use your feelings, Obi-Wan, and find him you will.
The stage is now set, as the Jedi have one final chance to stop the Sith and restore the Republic, with Obi-Wan traveling to Mustafar to face Anakin, and Yoda confronting the newly appointed Emperor on Coruscant.
I hear a new apprentice you have, Emperor. Or should I call you Darth Sidious?
Right from the start, Yoda makes it clear that he means business, and from the Emperor's reaction, it's obvious that his arrival is an unwelcome surprise.
Master Yoda, you survived.
Surprised?
Your arrogance blinds you, Master Yoda.
Here the Emperor makes an accurate assessment about Yoda, as not only is his confidence coming across as arrogant in this moment, but it's the very weakness Palpatine exploited in order to hide in plain sight from Yoda and the Jedi. The prelude to their duel continues off this very theme as Yoda continues to provoke a fight with the Dark Lord.
At an end your rule is, and not short enough it was.
Along with this confidence comes a fearless nature, as Yoda is prepared to take on arguably the most powerful being in the galaxy, where ironically his opposition is quick to search for an escape route.
If so powerful you are, why leave?
This being a sign that Palpatine both respects and fears Yoda, especially when compared to earlier in the film when he was more than willing to take on 4 Jedi Masters on his own. And as the duel initiates between the Masters of Good and Evil, we see the pure scale of this battle as they fight for the fate of the galaxy in the very place that symbolizes it in the Senate Auditorium, with the Chancellor's pod constantly ascending, representative of Palpatine's rise to power, and Yoda being the final line of defense for the people. And as the battle ensues, Palpatine proves to be a force of nature, asserting dominance by throwing Senate pods at Yoda, illustrating his total control over the Senate itself. And Yoda struggles with this tactic, narrowly dodging attack after attack. But once he shifts gears and uses the Force to redirect Palpatine's attack, Yoda proves how powerful trusting in the Force, and therefore yourself, can be. And so the battle comes down to a test of their strength in the Force, but the two opponents prove to be equals and reach a stalemate, with Yoda then making every effort to cling on and continue the fight, but he fails, and as he plummets to the ground, the Jedi have officially fallen from grace, and the Sith they swore to destroy reign supreme over them.
Into exile I must go. Failed I have.
Yoda's failure not only comes from the result of the duel, but in the way he led the Jedi. He's at his lowest point, so he understands that isolation will not only give the Jedi a chance in the long run, but more importantly, it will give him the opportunity to self-reflect on his mistakes and evolve because of them. After Padme's passing, the team is left with an important decision of how to proceed with her newly born offspring.
Hidden, safe, the children must be kept.
We must take them somewhere where the Sith will not sense their presence.
It's here that Yoda and the others begin to amend the mistakes of the Jedi of the Republic, by allowing Luke and Leia to live normal lives, with a family that would love them, and they could choose their own paths, guided by the will of the Force, rather than following the structure of the Code.
My wife and I will take the girl. We've always talked of adopting a baby girl. She will be loved with us.
And what of the boy?
To Tatooine. To his family send him.
And so, the three wisely decide to trust in the Force as the opportunity would present itself.
Until the time is right, disappear we will.
And as they wait for the opportunity, Yoda would ensure that he and Obi-Wan would be ready.
In your solitude on Tatooine, training I have for you.
Training?
as Obi-Wan is even surprised by the notion of training. Yoda here reinforces the idea that one must always stay humble and be willing to learn, no matter how knowledgeable you may be. And while the film ends on the theme of hope and trusting in the Force, it's only fitting that Yoda brings up the late Jedi Master, who was the biggest advocate of the living Force, in Qui-Gon.
An old friend has learned the path to immortality. One who has returned from the netherworld of the Force. Your old master.
Qui-Gon?
How to commune with him, I will teach you.
Where Yoda once blindly followed the code, he now chooses to follow in the footsteps of Qui-Gon, willing to learn more about the Force and opening his perspective on life in general, with the result of it to be seen in the original trilogy. Although Yoda's not present in Episode 4, his impact on the story is felt as we see the results of what Luke and Leia would grow up to be, both becoming powerful threats to the Empire as they lead the rebellion. And with the death of Bail Organa from the destruction of Alderaan and the passing of Obi-Wan on the Death Star, Yoda would be the last living member of the trio that swore to protect and guide the twins on their journey. In Episode 5, Yoda would finally be given his long-awaited opportunity to do his part to stop the Empire. We first hear mention of him when Obi-Wan appears to Luke as a Force ghost.
You will go to the Dagobah system.
Dagobah system?
There you will learn from Yoda, the Jedi Master who instructed me.
Having no other prior knowledge of Yoda, Luke is left with only his imagination as to who the master of his master really is. This mystery and intrigue builds an expectation not only for Luke, but the audience alike as well. Luke to this point of the story has shown glimpses of great strength with the Force, but he still has much to learn if he's to take on Vader and the Empire and succeed. Upon Luke's arrival to Dagobah, we're given a glimpse of what to expect.
I'm not picking up any cities or technology. Massive lifeform readings, though. There's something alive down there.
Here, Dagobah is used as a reflection of Yoda himself, where the planet, like Yoda, is not known for technology or materialistic possessions. Rather, they're full of life, and their strength comes from the Force. Their similarities are further illustrated by their appearance, both leaving people quick to make judgments about them. For Yoda, his age and size make him easy to dismiss, and for Dagobah, the swampy and unfamiliar environment makes it difficult for visitors to stay.
What are we doing here? It's like something out of a dream, or I don't know. Maybe I'm just going crazy.
It's this judgment of Dagobah that causes Luke to assume that it would be almost beneath Yoda to live here.
It's really a strange place to find a Jedi Master. This place gives me the creeps.
In his mind, he probably has imagined something more akin to the Jedi of old, expecting to find Yoda in a massive temple in the middle of a city. Overall, Dagobah symbolizes Yoda's humility, as he chooses to live a life of peace over anything else. In their first meeting, Luke and Yoda get off on the wrong foot, as Luke is shown to be aggressive right from the start.
I feel like we're being watched.
Oh, wait, put your weapon. I mean you no harm. I am wondering, why are you here?
And as the two begin to interact, we see Luke's judgmental tendencies, believing Yoda can't help him on his quest to find the great Jedi Master.
Help you I can, yes.
I don't think so.
Luke is dismissive of Yoda here purely based off his appearance and potentially his unusual speech pattern, as he's unable to see the advantage of having help offered to him from a resident of this strange world. And while Luke is clearly unaware that he's currently speaking to the person he's looking for, Yoda still can't help himself from dropping nuggets of wisdom on the young man.
I'm looking for a great warrior.
Oh, great warrior. Wars not make one great.
A line that encapsulates the Jedi's failures during the Clone Wars, as even the greatest warrior he knew in Mace Windu was just as blind as he was to the largest threat in the galaxy. This idea emphasizing that greatness does not come from winning a duel or a battle, but from within. It's also through their conversation that we see Yoda begin to test Luke's patience through his quick wit and shenanigans.
I'm looking for someone.
Looking? Found someone you have, I would say.
Right.
How you get so big getting food of this kind?
Listen, friend, we didn't mean to land in that puddle, and if we could get our ship out, we would, but we can't, so why don't you just...
not get your ship out? Fine, or I will help you not.
I don't want your help. I want my lamp back. I'm gonna need it to get out of this slimy mud hole.
Mudhole, slimy, my home this is!
In all, Luke is fortunate that Yoda is still willing to help, as Luke has perpetually failed all the tests that have been thrown at him to this point. Only when Yoda mentions that he knows the Jedi Master does Luke gain interest in receiving his help.
I'm not looking for a friend. I'm looking for a Jedi Master.
Jedi Master? Yoda. You seek Yoda.
You know him?
Take it to him, I will. Yes, but now, we must eat.
Yoda then takes Luke to his home, makes him a meal, and promises to take him to the Jedi after they eat. But Luke still has not learned his first lesson in patience, even with Yoda's hints.
Look, I'm sure it's delicious. I just don't understand why we can't see Yoda now.
Patience! For the Jedi, it is time to eat as well.
As they settle in, Yoda begins to drop the facade, asking Luke an important question.
Why wish you become Jedi?
Mostly because of my father, I guess.
Luke's answer is telling, as his primary motivation in this moment to become a Jedi stems from his desire to follow in his father's footsteps. An ominous sign for Yoda, as he knows Anakin's dark fate all too well. So when Luke loses his cool, Yoda can't help but feel disappointed, as Luke has traits all too similar to his father.
I cannot teach him. The boy has no patience.
He will learn patience.
Much anger in him. Like his father.
Yoda is hesitant to train Luke as he doesn't want to make the same mistake twice, focusing on the flaws Anakin passed down to Luke, from their rash behavior to their stubborn impatience.
This one, a long time have I watched. All his life as he looked away to the future, to the horizon, never his mind on where he was. What he was doing. Adventure. Excitement. A Jedi craves not these things.
This line not only does a great job of describing the Skywalker men in their youth, but also displays Yoda's growth as a character. For Anakin and Luke both craved a life greater than the one they led on Tatooine. As for Yoda, where he once promoted the idea of always being mindful of the future, he now believes in being in the present, as Qui-Gon once did. He learned that if you always look to the future, you can be blind to the present. But if you choose to live in the moment, life won't pass you by, and you can focus on what you can control with the cards given to you. Yoda also saw this flaw in Anakin as he became consumed with thoughts of the future, always fearful of what he couldn't dictate, to the point that it corrupted the good man he once was. And while Yoda has changed, some habits are hard to get rid of, as he uses age as an excuse to not train Luke as he once did with Anakin.
He is too old. Yes, too old to begin the training.
Although luckily, Yoda catches himself and agrees to train him, aware that this time around he has more experience, with a perfect opportunity to amend his failures with Anakin.
I won't fail you. I'm not afraid.
You will be. You will be.
This segues into Yoda's next important lesson for Luke, and that of fear being the path to the dark side. Here, Yoda reminds Luke that fear is inevitable, so although we may be fearless now, there will come a time when we must overcome it, as a man can only be brave when he's afraid.
A Jedi's strength flows from the Force, but beware of the dark side. Anger, fear, aggression. The dark side of the Force are they. Easily they flow, quick to join you in a fight. If once you start down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny. Consume you it will, as it did Obi-Wan's apprentice.
Vader.
Essentially, with great power comes great responsibility. As Luke's power with the Force grows, so will his temptation to utilize the dark side as well. Yoda understands that as a young man, Luke may give in on impulse out of fear or for the empty promise of greater power.
Is the dark side stronger?
No. Quicker, easier, more seductive.
Yoda quickly addresses this misconception, understanding that the dark side is simply a shortcut. While the dark side may take advantage of a greater variety of Force abilities, its users are never fully in control, always in a constant state of inner turmoil. The light side takes more dedication and patience, as it's harder to master, but in the end, it will obey your commands and give you true peace of mind. Which then begs the question,
but how am I to know the good side from the bad?
You will know when you are calm, at peace, passive.
all too similar to what Qui-Gon once told Anakin many years before.
When you learn to quiet your mind, you'll hear them speaking to you.
It's with a calm mind that one can use the Force properly, protecting others and never acting out of self-interest, or as Yoda says,
A Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack.
This concept is quickly put to the test as Luke prepares to enter the mysterious cave.
A domain of evil it is. Then you must go.
What's in there?
Only what you take with you.
Yoda's warning goes beyond the physical sense of its meaning, as he implies that if Luke enters with things such as fear, doubt, or anger, they will follow him, not only in the cave, but in all aspects of life, with Luke's choice to bring his weapons, symbolizing the very fear he possesses.
Your weapons. You will not need them.
And in the cave, Yoda's cautionary words come to life, as Luke faces Vader, the very symbol of fear, so he gives in to his own anger and fear and defeats him, but realizes that he has become the very thing he swore to destroy, an agent of evil. And as the training continues, Luke becomes concerned with his X-Wing as it sinks further into the lake.
We'll never get it out now.
So certain are you? Always with you what cannot be done.
Yoda notes that Luke's mindset is too negative, holding him back from his full potential, and if he continues to think this way, he will either always give up or look for strength in the wrong places, as his father once did. So instead, Yoda encourages Luke to change his perspective.
Master, moving stones around is one thing. This is totally different.
No different. Only different in your mind. You must unlearn what you have learned.
Yoda preaches that all goals in life must be approached in the same way, no matter their magnitude, as the more daunting a task may be, it only seems that way because we allow it. So we must ignore the voice in our head that says we may fail and start believing that we will succeed, or as Yoda famously says,
Try not. Do. Or do not. There is no try.
With these words in mind, Luke attempts to lift the X-Wing, doing so for a moment, but unfortunately failing in the end, overwhelmed by its sheer scale.
I can't. It's too big.
Size matters not. Look at me. Judge me by my size, do you?
Yoda addresses an important point here, as we're not defined by our exterior features, rather it's our actions that determine what we're capable of. Simply put, never judge a book by its cover.
And where you should not. For my ally is the Force, and a powerful ally it is. Life creates it, makes it grow. Its energy surrounds us and binds us. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter.
Yoda uses the Force here as a means to present the sentiment that we're more than just physical beings, as we're energy, capable of anything. You just have to believe it. But Luke's confidence is shaken, and he doesn't buy into Yoda's wise words.
You want the impossible.
So Yoda chooses to back up his statements, and in an inspiring effort, he begins to raise the X-Wing, proving to Luke and the audience alike that anything is possible, understanding that sometimes seeing is believing.
I don't believe it.
That is why you fail.
As Luke improves, he becomes introduced to new capabilities with the Force.
Through the Force, things you will see, other places, the future, the past, old friends long gone.
This prompts Luke to have visions of his friends in danger, with his friends being an attachment of his that can cause him to lose focus and act on emotion, which is why Yoda emphasizes that he must learn
Control, you must learn control.
Once again, Yoda is presented with a Skywalker that fears that their premonitions of a loved one's death will come true. So this time around, we see the differences in how Yoda approaches the situation, as he has learned from his mistakes with Anakin. First, when asked about their fate, rather than advising to be mindful of the future, Yoda assures him that nothing is set in stone, so dwelling on it is futile.
Difficult to see. Always in motion is the future.
But more importantly, instead of advising him to let go of his fear and deal with the inevitable, he unbiasedly presents the facts to him, reminding him that his actions have consequences.
If you leave now, help them you could, but you would destroy all for which they have fought and suffered.
Bringing into question, is it more important to save the ones you care about, or what they fight for? a question Yoda had to answer years before. But of course, Luke chooses to save his friends, and as he prepares to embark on his journey, Yoda makes one final attempt to convince Luke to stay.
You must complete the training.
I can't keep the vision out of my head. They're my friends. I gotta help them.
You must not go. Only a fully trained Jedi Knight, with the Force as his ally, will conquer Vader and his Emperor. If you end your training now, if you choose the quick and easy path, as Vader did, you will become an agent of evil.
Even with all of Yoda's warnings, Luke stands firm in his choice, and it's here that Yoda makes a key change with Luke compared to Anakin, as this time around, he shows some support by giving him last-minute tips to succeed against Vader.
Strong is Vader. Mind what you have learned. Save you again.
And it's the fact that although they may disagree, Yoda is willing to show Luke a sign of trust, and because of this, Luke is willing to return to Yoda as he feels genuine care and compassion from his master.
And I'll return. I promise.
And with Yoda's final line in the film, we're reminded of his optimistic nature, as no matter how dark it may get, he always believes that there's still hope.
Told you I did. Reckless as he. Now, matters are worse.
That boy is our last hope.
No. There is another.
While Yoda may not appear in the rest of the film, his impact on Luke is significant, and we see this in his duel with Vader, as he uses the core lessons Yoda has taught him to give him a fighting chance, all juxtaposed by Vader's approach to the fight. For one, Luke enters the fight with a lack of judgment, where he once judged Yoda, believing he was incapable of being the great Jedi Master he was searching for. He now takes on his opponent as seriously as he should have taken Yoda, whereas Vader unwisely underestimates Luke, playing with his food at times and even doubting his power.
All too easy. Perhaps you are not as strong as the Emperor thought. Impressive. Most impressive.
Also, where Luke was once afraid, he shows that he's begun conquering his demons, unlike Vader, who chooses to embrace them.
You have controlled your fear. Now, release your anger. Only your hatred can destroy me.
And as Yoda taught him, Luke now has changed his perspective and has a confident mindset.
You have learned much, young one.
You'll find I'm full of surprises.
It's also Luke's newfound patience that allows him to endure every trick Vader has up his sleeve, prolonging the fight to the point that even Vader begins to lose his patience. And it's in this moment, Luke is even able to land a blow on the Sith Lord. But as we know, Luke loses the duel. But what's truly important here is what he does with the choice he's given by Vader, as he followed Yoda's words by not giving in to temptation, resisting the dark side, and honoring what his friends fight for. In episode 6, we see that Luke has developed even further as a character since his duel with Vader, displaying his proficiency with the Force in Jabba's palace, and his newly built lightsaber representing the strides he's made on his way to becoming a Jedi Knight. So once he saves Han, he makes good on his promise and returns to his old master. But unfortunately, this is almost too late, as Yoda's age is beginning to show.
That face you make. Look, I so old to young eyes.
No, of course not.
I do. Yes, I do.
It's a reminder that we're all only here for a limited time. To a younger person, it seems like forever. And even Yoda remembers what it was like to be young, having been in Luke's position before. And although his physical form is beginning to fade, his spirit never does, as he remains young at heart, using humor to stay joyful in his final moments.
When 900 years old you reach, look as good you will not,
Yoda understands that his time has come, so he accepts his fate.
Soon will I rest. Yes. Forever sleep. Earned it I have.
He's lived a long life, and although he's had many failures, he's put a lot of good into the universe, so he's satisfied with the life he's lived.
Master Yoda, you can't die.
Strong am I with the Force, but not that strong.
When we're young, we want to live forever, and we wish the same for those we care about. But as we grow older, our experiences give us a new perspective. So Yoda is prepared for this moment and embraces it head on. A reminder of a key difference between the Jedi and the Sith, as the Sith live their lives in fear of death, and the Jedi live unafraid of it until the end, and can be immortalized through the Force.
Twilight is upon me, and soon night must fall.
So in Yoda's final moments, Luke's training is brought into question.
No more training do you require. Already know you. That which you need.
Yoda believes that Luke's training is complete because ultimately, he was able to resist the dark side in his duel with Vader. This causes Luke to give himself a premature promotion to Jedi, and for Yoda to hold off death for one last good laugh.
Then I am a Jedi.
Not yet. One thing remains. Vader. You must confront Vader. Then, only then, a Jedi will you be.
While Luke may have resisted temptation once, in order to fully complete the trials of a Jedi, he must face his fears head-on and conquer them once and for all. And when asked, initially Yoda attempts to dodge Luke's question about Vader being his father, but he realizes that Luke has earned the right to know.
Yoda, I must know.
Your father is.
And with this confirmation, Luke is shook, so Yoda does what he can to give the young man guidance during his troubled time, and prepare him for what is to come.
Do not underestimate the powers of the Emperor, or suffer your father's fate. You will.
Not only should Luke worry about being outmatched in his skills with the Force, but more importantly, with the Emperor's power of persuasion, as that was what killed the good man that was once Anakin.
When gone am I, the last of the Jedi will you be? Pass on what you have learned.
Yoda reminds Luke of not only the great responsibility he has for the survival of the Jedi, but of the circle of life. As he was once the learner, now he will be the master. So it's important that he teaches others what he knows, and through his experiences, they can be a better version of him, just as Luke did learning from Obi-Wan and Yoda.
There is another sky.
And with Yoda's dying breath, he rids himself of one last secret, serving as a reminder to Luke that he's not alone, as he'll feel that way after losing a mentor and a friend. So after he's done all that he could to lead Luke down the right path, Yoda fades away peacefully and transforms into the Force.
I can't do it, R2. I can't go on alone.
Yoda will always be with you.
While Yoda's gone physically, his spirit remains both literally and metaphorically. So long as Luke always keeps him in mind, Yoda will live on. And so Luke does this, as he uses Yoda's teachings to confront Vader once more, and stand up to the Emperor. Where the Emperor's throne room acts as the mysterious cave Yoda once showed him, with Luke entering it alone and weaponless this time, ready to take on his fears. And he's put to the test as he gives in to his anger to defeat Vader in combat, but wisely throws away his weapon to show that he will never succumb to the dark side. It's through this action that he becomes a Jedi, and his trial is fully complete, as he honors Yoda's legacy, finishing what Yoda started, by defeating the Emperor, restoring peace to the galaxy, and becoming the ideal Jedi. And in the closing shots of The Return of the Jedi, we see Yoda watching over Luke as a Force ghost, a reminder of the value in learning from others, as he learned the path to immortality through his former student in Qui-Gon. It's through Yoda we see the importance of learning in general, as his great wisdom comes from the mistakes he's made. He's an inspiring example of what can happen when failure is embraced rather than avoided, as we can develop and grow as people because of it. As Yoda would say, the greatest teacher, failure is. But most of all, he uses these experiences not only to better himself, but the people around him, passing on what he's learned, showing the importance and impact of having a great teacher in your life, as we have unlimited potential when someone guides us down the right path and believes in us. In the end, Yoda reminds us to always strive for improvement, to learn when you can, and teach when you have, to believe in yourself and others, as we're all capable of greatness, no matter our size. It's because of this, and so much more, that Yoda has forever earned a special place in the hearts of audiences, as the wise mentor, and the greatest Star Wars character of all time. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I had a ton of fun making this video, so if you enjoyed it too, then I highly suggest liking the video, and if you want to see more like it, then definitely hit subscribe. Also, I want to give a shout out to my patrons. Your support means everything to me. If you enjoyed the content and want to help support the channel, then check out the Patreon link in the description. Any contribution would help out immensely. Also, let me know in the comments what your favorite Yoda quote is and why, as well as which Star Wars character is the greatest mentor and why. And who knows, they might be in the next one. Until next time, remember, do or do not. There is no try.